In our last video, we showed you a great progression to write a war hero's theme. Today, I'll show you some pro tips on how to write a video game theme that sounds like this. In this theme, we're going to look at two modes that only differ on one note, but they're actually not related: the Lydian flat 7 and the Mixolydian modes. I'll show you how to take advantage of the properties in these two scales and how to use them to write your own themes. The Lydian flat 7 is also known as the Lydian dominant. This is basically a Mixolydian scale with a sharp 4. Remember, Mixolydian is the 5th mode of the major scale. So if we play C major, starting on the 5th degree, we get a G Mixolydian scale. And if we sharpen the 4th degree, C to C sharp, we get G Lydian flat 7. It's worth noting that this scale does not come from the major scale, but from the melodic minor. Lydian flat 7 is the 4th mode of melodic minor. So G Lydian flat 7 is the 4th mode of D melodic minor. Here's D melodic minor. And if I play the same notes, but starting on G, I get the G Lydian flat 7 scale. When you're writing themes on a Lydian flat 7, a great trick is to imply the Lydian scale and add the flat 7 on the accompaniment layer. Let me show you why. Imagine that I'm writing a Lydian theme. Lydian is a major scale with a sharp 4, and it offers a sort of dreamy sound. But the only difference between Lydian and Lydian flat 7 is the 7th degree. Lydian has a major 7, so the 1 chord in Lydian is a major 7th chord. But Lydian flat 7 has a flat 7, which makes the 1 chord a dominant chord. So if you write a Lydian melody, but you accompany with a dominant chord layer, you get this wacky something is odd sort of sound. And that's exactly what we did in our theme. If you just look at the melody, you can't tell if this is G Lydian or G Lydian flat 7. It's only when you look at the left hand that you see an F natural, which makes the accompaniment a G7 chord. Another great trick that you can use on Lydian flat 7 is to use the flat 7 augmented chord upper structure in the accompaniment layer. And that's exactly what we're doing on these measures here. Notice that the second half of our theme is in F Lydian flat 7, but look at the accompaniment layer. It alternates between E flat augmented and an F major triad. Both triads are contained in F Lydian flat 7. E flat is the flat 7 augmented. This offers a really interesting solution to voice your F7 sharp 11. Since we're not looking at the E flat augmented as a chord, but as a voicing of F7 sharp 11. And to emphasize this perspective, we wrote a hemiola on the right hand. So when you look at the right hand against the left hand, sometimes you have an F and an A over E flat augmented, and sometimes you have a G and a B over the F chord. See, it doesn't really matter. The whole entire thing is an F Lydian flat 7. And this is a really important concept to grasp. Many beginner composers try to always think vertically on each note that they write. is this note gonna clash with this note down here, and what is this chord that I'm playing? But if you start writing your melodies and harmonies using concepts like the one I just showed you, you don't need to check note by note. You're writing based on an overall sound, and individual notes become much less important. Another great technique to create this kind of sound is to add short chromatic runs to your current mode. If you look at the next measures, we're still thinking Lydian flat 7, but now we're connecting notes with passing tones using the chromatic scale. And you can always harmonize chromatic runs using parallel motion or contrary motion. When you use chromatic runs, the only thing you have to think about are the target notes. Now, to write our B theme, we use the Mixolydian scale. Mixolydian has a less dissonant quality than Lydian flat 7, but it is still a dominant scale. As we showed you in our medieval theme, modulating to other modes is a great way of creating a contrasting theme. And while in Lydian flat 7 we have the 1 major and the flat 7 augmented, in Mixo we have a 1 major and a flat 7 major. Now we can use A flat major and G flat major from A flat Mixolydian. So even though we wrote A flat to G flat in the chord progression, these measures are just an A flat 7 Mixolydian chord. Also, to create even more contrast between theme A and theme B, we implemented a metric modulation. There are different ways to write metric modulations, but in our example, we just changed from 4/4 to 6/8 while keeping the 8th note duration. And to make it a bit more wacky, we're switching between 6/8 and 2/4 on every other measure. I also wanted to mention how you can write your themes by using just one mode and interesting modulation patterns. If you look at our theme, the A section is actually in all these different Lydian flat 7 keys. G Lydian flat 7 to F Lydian flat 7. And then we added the chromatic runs to these scales while also using a chromatic modulation from F to F sharp to G in order to target A flat Mixolydian in the B section, which modulates using a chromatic mediant movement from A flat mixo to C mixo. One last tip, when you go back to your A theme, try to be subtle. Don't just restart the A section abruptly. If you look at our theme, we modulated from C mixo back to A flat, but now it's Lydian flat 7. And then we go back to our initial key of G Lydian flat 7. And also, we didn't restart the A theme right away. Instead, we snuck up to it by ending the B theme on a 2/4 measure. And then we added a transition in 4/4, our original time signature, and also a pickup to the main theme. All these techniques are subtle, but they make all the difference. We're going to talk more about MIDI orchestration later on in this series, so make sure to subscribe to our channel to learn more about that. Before we listen to the entire theme with the piano, remember that you can join our exclusive access membership to get the PDF with today's lesson. And the PDF links to this video for future reference. So if you're not a member yet, go ahead and click on the join button right here on YouTube. And if you don't want to become a member just yet, you can still purchase this PDF on mDecks.com. I'll put a link in the description down below. So here's the entire theme with the piano. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Go ahead and visit mDecks.com. We have an entire library of music resources for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.